Good morning, all. Welcome to IEEE Robotics and Automation Society, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today, we have our guest, Aryan Jagutsi from Pune. He is a profound robotics engineer, having the experience in robotics, like much more dive into the robotics and the field of robotics. Welcome, Aryan.
Thank you, Vivek, for having me today. And I'm really excited for this podcast. And thank you for inviting me here.
Aryan, I see like you are very good at robotics. You have gained a lot of followers in LinkedIn, almost I will say over 9,000 of followers, and that says what you do for robotics and what you learn from robotics. So, can I know more about you, like from where did all of this journey started, and what sparked you that curiosity and that interest to be on the robotics field, since these days robotics is not that much famous, I will say, in the area.
Mhm. Yeah. So actually, the journey started back in my school days. I was really interested into the technical stuff. We used to play with motors and some kind of toys that we have,
Yes.
like the remote control RC controller cars.
Mhm.
So by that, I just picked out one car, just got the motors out, and then I figured out am I interested into engineering? Because my siblings were saying that they are interested to go with the scientist part. Some want to become an actor and all those things. But I was not able to figure out like what is good for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just talked to one of my relatives that I am interested into the technical part. So I want to do mechanical engineering, but they said mechanical is like outdated. So I thought like what to do now. Then I watched the movie Iron Man. So
Mhm.
I don't know, but in my sixth or seventh grade, I watched it, and it was really fascinating. So at that time, I decided, like I should create one of those suits
Mhm.
for me. Actually, one of my projects in school days was about Iron Man, but I never took the courage to take it out because it was not up to that level. It was just like kind of what can I say, sci-fi type project. So I just kept it down. But that really fascinated me to do robotics. Then I figured out the term robotics subconsciously, and then in my eighth or ninth grade, I decided to do the robotics engineering part. But still, there was one cap of the competitive exam, so that's how it went.
In India, yes, in India and in my place in Nepal also, like there's this competitive exams that is there. So it's pretty
Right,
lucky,
right.
guys.
Actually, those exams are like because I'm type of a person who studies like one day before the exam. So there is, but I am active at the lectures part, like what the faculties teaches. I listen to that. Sometimes not, but 90% chances that I will gain that from the lectures itself, and then I will write it in the exams part. Like the concept clearing part is more important to me than the whole study part. But
Putting the theories in.
that's exactly because those are like really hard to understand, and I don't know, like you can relate to that, right? But yeah, but at the same time, that is important because those concepts, those formulas, the theory is also important because we also have to follow the protocols, so that is also important. But for the competitive exams part, there are some prestigious colleges in India, like IITs and NITs. So we have to get into it. But when I was giving these competitive exams, I was not knowing about it. Like what is IIT, what is NIT. After giving my exams, I got to know about it. Like I was not knowing like what I am preparing for. I just want to get into robotics. Nothing matters for me. Like the IIT, NIT, that is the second part for me. I was not like never fascinated for the IIT, NIT, nor the job part as well. So I just studied about it and I failed the JEE exam,
Mhm.
joint entrance examination, because the percentile was not very good.
Mhm.
And I gave my state level exam, that is CET, and I got the scholarship and chose one of the colleges which was having automation and robotics as their bachelor's part. So I was lucky enough to get that bachelor's part because when I was picking up the colleges at the same time, the college started the automation and robotics engineering part. So it was a kind of coincidence, or else I was lucky. I don't know. but I got into it. It else like I was not into the technical domain, I think so, because I just wanted to do the robotics. So yeah, so my engineering journey started there.
So it's I would say pretty hectic from where we start and where we are now. So
Yeah.
one question that is coming in my mind now is like you chose to do robotics engineering, and
Hmm.
I guess at that point of time we are not that much aware like where to start and what to do next and what are the things there in the robotics, what are the complexities there. So how do you figure that out? Like during your engineering period as a student, how you develop.
Got it. Right. So, like during my engineering period, it there was the Corona pandemic going on.
Mhm,
So my 1.5 years were online,
mhm,
and 2.5 years were offline. So that's how it went. But during the online period, I focused on the technical part, like how to get into the robotics field. So there were two domains, the software and the hardware part. So I don't know why, but the hardware part never like was my thing.
mhm,
But I figured out that I should try out the software part, like the C++ programming, Python programming. So I started learning upon that. But I was not really aggressive on that I should do the software in robotics. Because there was one turn like I want to explore the non-technical part as well. So I got to learn about the video editing, graphic designing, UI UX design, and sometimes I tried out the app development part as well, participating in hackathons and all those things, figuring out on myself. So till now, I didn't got the robotics exposure from the college because of the online thing as well. That's also the major thing. But I got to learn about the non-technical things. So I tried out freelancing as well. I worked as a video editor, and those things were done by me. But for the technical part, there was one club in our college about the robotics club because it is also simultaneously important to get to the college clubs if we want the real exposure. So the main thing is that if you have the resources in college, just grab it because those are for you guys. So if you don't use those resources, they are going to get wasted because at the end, those resources are created by the college to get the exposure for the students, not for the faculties. So we have to get into the clubs. Of course, college are going to benefit from them,
mhm.
but college is nothing but a union of students who are learning together.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, exactly. So just use that resources if you are having just a short tip. So you can follow that. But I got into the club activities online itself.
Mhm,
And I was figuring out like what to do in that club. So I heard about the term ROS. But back then I was exploring robotics. One of my friend at BITS Goa campus just called me on the ROS workshop. Like there is one robot workshop known as ROS. So can you join it? Like if you want to learn some new things. So I just got like interested. Like I should join it. So if it is ROS or anything related to robotics. So I got into it and I thought that like ROS is good. So I should explore about it. It is open source and many more things. It is free. But at that time I was not able to do it practically because I was not having the complete system, the laptop system and all those things. So I got into it and did the ROS by just watching the videos and got to know about it. But during my college club, I got a chance to work upon robot operating system. Like I got to do the Udemy course of it, and but still I was not able to get the concept of ROS because the Udemy course are really like at the high level for a very beginner who doesn't know about Arduino as well. So that's why. So if you are starting with robotics, start with the really basics, not the ROS. Okay. So just start with the really basics. What is current? What is voltage? Bring those 12th grade concepts and link it to the engineering part and get started with robotics. That could be the electronics design or the coding part as well. So you can get started with robotics with that. By entering into the college clubs will be really beneficial. So after the online part, I went to the college for the offline. But till then, I was pretty much aware about robotics. What is robotics? How projects work? Because when I got offline to the college, I was able to work on the hardware part as well. So whether I like it or not, hardware is important.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you have to deal with the hardware part. Okay, so I was able to deal with the hardware part and the coding part as well. So I explored about the projects. A simple project like distance measurement using ultrasonic sensor. You get to know about the sensors, get to know about the microcontrollers. So just try to figure out in that way. Don't go for the real robot, like I want to build a robotic arm, I want to build a robot car. Don't jump directly on that. It is, but try to clear the fundamentals and at the back of the mind, keep thinking on that project. Like you should not leave that project, keep thinking on it. And when you get the concepts cleared, you can do that project. So then I was figuring out on the mobile robots part or the robotic arm part. So for the mobile robot, I was able to build a simple Bluetooth controlled Arduino car.
Mhm.
So that how I started into the robotics field. So yeah,
So as of now, you're much more into robotic software aspects than that of hardware aspects.
right.
But as you said, now hardware is also that much very much important on robotics. So
Really important. Yeah,
what I would like to add up here is like in robotics, hardware is important. That too with respect to all the kinematics and dynamics that is there. So
exactly.
all the links and joints, what we need to play with these things. One more question that is coming in my mind, like on your experience, like if I'm a student and I know nothing, I know zero
Mhm.
about robotics, and how do I get started?
Right. Okay. So okay, from my perspective, if someone is at a very beginning level, then they should first explore about robotics, things related to robotics. Like I previously said about, there is one term as software, there is one term as hardware.
Mhm.
Okay, so hardware as the design part,
Yeah.
the electronics part. I'm simplifying it in the very uh, definite structure or else a very casual one.
Mhm.
Okay, so for the hardware part, we have the design and the electronics part. And the software part, we only have the coding part, or the you can say uh, the other part like linking of the simulations with the real-time environment and all those things using the tools part. So that will come under the software part. So try to work on all those things, because unless and until we don't work upon those things, we are not able to get it. So at the beginning, just don't define for yourself what is good. Explore all the domains and then come at a conclusion. Okay, but to explore this? That is also one question, right?
Mhm.
So for that, someone who is starting, there are two possibilities. He has the resources from the college, and the other part is he doesn't have any resource from the college. Okay, because one of my side was to getting into the college, but when I got offline, I just left that club because, yeah, I will tell the reason afterwards.
Mhm.
But the second part is one who has resources from the college, one who doesn't have the resources. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have the resources from the college. So if you have the resources, then join the college clubs, interact with the seniors. It is very, very important that you interact with the seniors, the right senior, okay? Because there are two types of seniors. Okay. First of all, you will get a senior who is interested into your field, that is robotics, and the second one who is not interested into robotics. So interact with your seniors, like those who are interested into robotics and not interested. Again, interact with both of them. Okay, that is also important. So who is interested into robotics, he will tell you how he did the robotics projects, what mistakes he did. Those who are not into robotics, take the feedback from them, why they are not interested, and what are the drawbacks of the project and drawbacks of the department as well,
Mhm.
that you are aware of it. So after getting that data, work upon the things. Then you have a data like your senior worked upon that project. Just ask them, can you please help me to build this project? Can you help me to build a similar project? Can you provide me the documentation of the project? Okay, you have the data now collected from your seniors. You have joined your college club. Okay, work under your seniors. They will guide you what to do. For example, there are different robotics competitions taking place at different states or its different cities. Okay, for example, robo race. So in that robo race, you have to build a mobile robot. For example, a Bluetooth controlled. car, ESP32 controller car. So those types of simple projects are being created. But those simple projects are important in order to explore the types of robots. For example, robot car is nothing but a mobile robot.
Yes.
So for that robo race, you have to make a robot which is high at speed, which is stable. So you have to select good motors for that. You have to code it. So likewise, you have to build the robot. Like you will get to study about the robot design. You will build the chassis. You will mount the hardware on your own. You will program the microcontroller. And the last but not the least part, not the last but not the least part, you will interact with the team.
Yes. Yes.
That comes under the non-technical part, but that is important because when you join the company, you have to interact with the team, right? With your project manager.
Mhm.
So that is also important. So you learn 50 to 60% technical, but the 30 to 40% non-technical part is really important. Okay. So try to interact with your team members and learn from them. And if you know some good things, share with them. So that's how robotics like things should be explored. And if you want to get ahead of this after joining the technical club, I know about how the robots work, what are the microprocessors, microcontrollers, are all those things are explored by you. Choose a robotic project for you because at that level you know what are the things going on in the basics of robotics. So you know how to build a mobile robot. Then try to level up your project. That can be an autonomous mobile robot. Then you can work upon that. Then go for the robotic arm because there are types of robots. You
Mhm.
can go for the robotic arm. If you have worked on the mobile robot, the robotic arm, then try for the legged robots. Okay, so
Mhm.
you can try to figure it out. And one important point here is try to explore within your college period itself because robotics is highly costly.
Mhm.
So you can't purchase the hardware after your college. But if your project is good, you can approach the college that I have this project. We
Mhm.
can build it for our institute, for our department. We have built a team and we can work upon that. But go with the simulation part because they will not approve if you are just going with the idea.
To open
So
results
because
after.
simulation is exactly right. So that's the important thing.
Mhm.
If you have the potential project and if it is costly, try to do it in your college period itself because after that it can be impossible if you have some budget constraints. So try to get those things and it is
Mhm.
like it will be really good if you get the exposure in the college itself because after that you have a good portfolio. So you can work upon those projects like if you have the college resources and if you are alone, if you are trying out on your own. For example, for me, I joined the college club in the online mode and then in the offline mode, I got out of the club. So I wanted to explore on my own, but also at the same time, I was interested into the club but yeah, so at the same time I wanted to focus upon my things and also on the club part thing, but I just got into the freelancing part and I was not able to leave it, so I got stuck with the freelancing one by doing my stuff as well on the technical side. So I took more time to explore what I am good at, like for the hardware or the software part. So I was just trying to figure it out. Like some of my friends were in the college clubs, in the robotics club. So they were going with the competitions. The major drawback in the college clubs is that they keep on doing the competitions itself. But when you do one competition, try to level up your project. That is also important.
Okay,
If you
just
keep on
not
doing the
doing just
competition,
one project multiple times. Yes.
right, exactly. You can't make the projects multiple times because see, the world is changing right now. So the thing we are doing now, even me, currently I'm doing some projects that are not relevant to the current inventions happening out there. So we can't stick to one project, keep working upon it for a very long time. It is at the same time it is good if you work upon a project for 1 year. That is good, but don't work upon the project more than 2 years.
Mhm.
If it is up to not that level, if it is at a very beginner level, for example a robot car, okay, if you build at once, that is good. That is, there is no need to build it again. If you want to just if you want to make it some new things in it like using the Wi-Fi protocol, you can get into it. building a new interface for it, the web interface or the Bluetooth controlled interface, you can work upon that. But if you are going to do the things again, if your concept is not clear, then do it. But if it is clear, then there is no need to do it. So that was one thing. The things were happening in a repetitive manner. And there is one thing like I want to like do one thing about the exploration part is that I like to explore upon the multiple things at a time. So that is one drawback for me actually. So I
Mhm.
like to explore multiple things at a time. So my goals were not meeting the club. So I left the club and tried to explore on my own, like how are the things going in robotics and all those things. So there was one gap as in my mid third year. Till that I was doing freelancing and the technical projects at my college level for the department level, basic robotic projects like the mobile robot one and all those things. But at the third year, I decided to go with ROS. So I was having complete systems. And during the exploration part, I also read some books related to ROS
Mhm.
by Lentin Joseph. And also, there is one book by Taylor and Francis.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're talking about ROS, Aryan. Like, what is ROS as a student? If I want to know, is this ROS a software or a operating system or a different ecosystem that is there for robotics? So, what is ROS exactly?
Okay, got it. So, ecosystem is a very good word for it,
Mhm.
but it is a framework.
Mhm.
We can call that. Okay. Operating system is like our Windows, our Linux operating system, which gives us a very good environment to
Mhm.
work upon our things, uh, a like of fundamental platform to work upon the things. But if you want to relate the ROS with the operating system part, you can relate it to that, but it is not an operating system. It is a framework which gives us an environment to build a robot. For example, you get to do the simulation and the hardware thing with the help of ROS. So that's the beauty of it. Like you get all the things at one place. And while dealing with ROS, it is also important to note that ROS is not robotics. Okay, ROS is a tool to make the robotics operations like at a very good level or else do it easily. That is the thing because you get the pre-built packages. Pre-built package is nothing but a combination of code files or else all the data that you have for the simulation. And for example, if you are building a mobile robot, you have to deal with the sensors, you have to deal with the driving system. So you can build different packages for it. So that's how it goes. So a different package is handling for the sensor data, a different package is for the driving of the motors. So this way it goes. So ROS is nothing but an environment which deals with the simulation and the hardware part. And like similarly, if you are dealing with robotics, you should know about the fundamentals of robotics and then get into the ROS. Because if you don't know the fundamentals of robotics and you are just using ROS, then it is waste of time because like you will be asked in the interviews like, do you know about ROS? Okay, you know about it. Okay, you just told everything about ROS, how to create a code file, node file, launch file. You did the simulation by watching the videos or the documentation. That is good.
Mhm.
But then they will come to the questions like what is kinematics? What is dynamics?
Mhm.
What are links? What are joints? They will give you situations like if you are building a robot for a warehouse
Mhm.
and you are using different type of sensors, which sensor will be more useful? Like you are using LiDAR sensor, you are using depth camera sensor, and the room is dark. So which sensor will work fine? So these questions will be asked to you. They will give you a piece of code to write. So if you are getting into software with the help of ROS, it is good. You should use it because if you are doing everything from scratch, that is also not good because the people who are using the ROS term for their job or else to go faster than you may be a competition for you. So at the same time, you should know about ROS, but by knowing the fundamentals you should write up to 10 lines of code in ROS using Python and C++. Both are important. But my take on ROS is that just try to collaborate ROS with robotics. Just don't learn ROS on its own level. You know the fundamentals of robotics as we discussed previously.
Mhm.
And by knowing the fundamentals like kinematics, dynamics, even the matrices, how sensor fusion works, all that is cleared. And then you can work upon the ROS part.
Okay, okay, okay. So in ROS, programming is much more important, and what programming is important, right? So is there any?
Right, right. Programming is important. Simulation is also important. Like some, not many companies, but I have seen companies hiring simulation engineer to do the simulation in the gazebo sim. So to create the environment and to move the robot in the gazebo environment. Those companies who are using ROS, Note. So that is also one important point. Simulation engineering is also for the ROS part, especially for the ROS part. And if you know the programming, that is good. There are many roles available as a ROS developer, as a robotic software engineer. Currently, I'm working as a robotic software engineer. So yeah.
Okay, and in ROS, like which type of programming should I will be aware for? Like, do I need to go for C, C++, or Java or XML? What is there in robotics, like especially in ROS?
In especially in ROS.
Hmm.
Okay. So especially in ROS, if I talk about, then there are two programming languages which are very important. One is Python and the other one is C++. So at the beginning level, Python is okay to do the prototyping part, to get the confidence in the ROS. Like we are using one framework, we should know about it, the basics of it. Then Python is really good. It is also possible to use Python at a very uh, extensive level. I'm not kind of under determining Python,
Mhm.
but like Python is not overrated, not underrated. It is rated and it is really useful. But at the same time, C++, when it comes to the hardware integration part, C++ is important. For example, I was dealing with the encoder parts in motor. I used the Python node there. Node means the code part in ROS. So I was not getting the encoder data really fast from the Arduino. Like uh, it was taking, I think, so 1 minute delay or there was one latency issue. So I just shifted to the C++ node part. So then that change was like kind of miracle for me. So there was only milliseconds of delay. So that's how it works. Like this was just an example, but C++ is really faster, and for the hardware integration, it plays a great role.
Okay.
So if you are going with ROS, then in the beginning Python is good, but simultaneously explore the C++ part.
Okay. That was much more, I will say, horizon and understanding of
Mm.
robotics and where to get started and how things should be planned. What are the companies there in your area, and which type of projects do they really cater these days? And what are the industry
Mhm.
trends on ROS?
Got it. So, should I speak about the companies only into the ROS or else those who are not using ROS?
Both, both, both.
Both of them. Okay. So let's categorize two of them. Like because there are always two sides of one coin.
Mhm.
Like those companies who are using ROS and the other one who is not using ROS. Let's go with the not using ROS part first. Okay, because I am into ROS, so the companies who are not using ROS,
Mhm.
about them first. So, like I previously said about the fundamentals of robotics, it is really important. And I will link it to my college journey part, again, coming back to the college part. So, at that time, I was figuring out how to get an internship because in the college part, I was not really focusing on the job part first. Like, I should get a job. That was not my really thing, a real thing, because I don't know, I never cared about it. How should I get a job and all those things. But I was building my profile at the same level. That is also important to note. So I was trying to search for internships because college was saying that you should do an internship or else you can do a project under your professor. There were two choices. So I was searching for internships like how to get an internship and all those things. So there were some companies who are into robotics. So be aware of the things, what are companies doing, what they need. Because there is always one saying, like unless and until you don't give the work, how will the person get an experience? So I heard it from many students. The companies don't give a internship, then how will I get an experience? And how will I get a job? Okay, because they always ask for experience. there is no like space for freshers. That's how students say sometimes, sometimes not. Uh, but again, coming back to the internship part. So at that time, I was figuring out how to get an internship in a robotics company. So some companies were hiring for the technical role in robotics, like the uh, robotics engineer. Then one role was about the robotics software engineer, then robotics hardware engineer, robotics design engineer. So I applied to all of them because I wanted an internship. Okay, that was my uh, real intention at that level. But I was not selected for them because I just mailed for 100 companies, 200 companies, but I never got selected for the internship. So at the end, I didn't get an internship in my days. So that's a kind of drawback for me. But I never did an internship. Then after seeing that particular aspect, I started learning ROS. That is the next thing. But if I talk about the companies who are not using ROS, what they need is that your fundamentals should be cleared. You have worked upon the robotics project from the scratch. So at that point, if you are into the software development part, you should know about the C++ programming. You should know about the sensor fusion part and also about how the design works. Okay. If you are working into software, then also you should know the mechanical things and the electronics part as well, the basics of it, not the really core of electronics. But at the end, you are building a robot. Okay. So you should know about the mechanical basics and the electronics basics as well, even though you are into software. So about the basics of robotics and the role that you are applying for, that is important. The companies who are not using ROS, they are also like mm, not at a non-profit kind of company. They are also making profit. They are building the thing from scratch. They have built their own APIs. They are also working on the autonomous driving robots. So all the things are similar to the ROS, but they are doing it from the very deep hardware level. So they have done the R&D previously, and then they are building the stuff on it. So their research is done. So what I am saying is that the companies who are not using ROS are not the companies who have started less than 5 years. Okay, those are who have started more than 5 years. Okay, according to me. But at the same time, they hire the people who are more experienced, like who have made, because you are not using ROS, right? So you should know the fundamentals at a deeper level that cannot be understood by a fresh graduate. That can be understood. It depends upon the student as well. Those students who have explored a lot, I'm not underrating them. They can also get it. But what I'm saying is that if you want to get into those companies, get your fundamentals cleared. Okay, that can be related to the software part, that can be related to the design part, and that can be related to the electronics part as well. Those companies need the embedded engineers as well. So if you know the microcontrollers, like for example, 8051 microcontroller, if you know the basics of that microcontroller, because they will ask in the interview, like, do you know about it? If you know about it, what is it? If you know what is it, how to use it? If you know how to use it, then show me the project. Okay, so that's the thing how it goes. So you have to prove that you are good that particular role. You are suitable for that role in any company. But for the non-ROS companies, this is the thing. Like you should really get your hands dirty on the robotics field. You should know the basics. So, and if you have some experience, that will definitely showcase your skills. That will be a really add-on because they need experienced people. Okay. Now, coming to the companies who are using ROS, they are also using they are doing the same thing, like building the autonomous mobile robot or else the robotic arm as well. Not only the mobile robots or the light robots as well. But these companies are the startups or else the companies who have just started, like from of 5 years, I can say. Now, they are using ROS. That is not wrong because all the basic stuff is already built. So why to build that stuff again? We can build the things upon that. For example, the embedded things and embedded software engineering, or else the uh, prototyping thing is done, you have to integrate ROS and check the prototype if it is working or not. ROS is not easy. Okay, it is easy in the simulation, but if you go with the hardware integration part, you will stuck at some point and you will not be able to figure out what is really happening. You have to scratch your heads, okay? Because the community is now growing in ROS, but it is not fully grown. So you have to figure out some things on your own, but with the help of ChatGPT, you can also do some things quicker. So that is also one aspect. I will take that aspect to the next part. But for the companies who are using ROS, they are using ROS for the prototyping. They want to build the product at a fast level. So it is good that they are using ROS. Okay, so they can build the autonomous robot, for example, from the scratch. They will need a whole R&D team. They will need the funding part as well to hire the employees. So those companies who are using ROS, they are also companies who have limited employees. Okay, because currently, if I say about India, the robotics companies are growing growing faster, I can say. But at the same time, I must say, like, those are limited. Okay. And those are specific for the skill sets part. If you have the skill, you will get the job. So that is the thing what is currently into robotics. So for the ROS part, the companies are using it for the prototyping to save the time. Let's say less than 1 year. They will build the prototype, they will test, they will get the errors, they will do the validation part, and then they will again make the changes and launch it as a product for the other countries, or else for in country as well. So it depends upon the company perspective. But for the companies who are using ROS, they are also saving a lot of time because currently the ROS is evolving. Like we have ROSCON India in December. Those kind of community building stuff is happening in the world for the ROS. So that is also one good thing. There are also drawbacks of ROS, as I said previously about the fundamentals of robotics. But the person who knows the fundamentals of robotics can work upon ROS very easily by uh, understanding the ROS architecture. But the understanding of ROS architecture is also important because you are adapting yourself to that environment. You should know about the environment. Like, for example, if you are swimming in a swimming pool, you should know about the depth of the swimming pool. So if you know about the fundamentals of ROS, you can get into the ROS and save your time. That is also important because you get pre-built libraries and you get a kind of tool for yourself to build the robot navigation stack, for which if you build the navigation stack from the scratch, you may need 1 year, 2 year if you built it on your own or by the R&D team, but you are getting the navigation stack by the ROS itself. So you can save a lot of time by building the navigation system in 3 months or 6 months. It depends upon your robot actually. And again, ROS supports multiple types of robots, like the mobile robot for the company who is doing mobile robot. Okay, they can build the mobile robot using ROS by hiring a ROS developer or else a robotic software engineer or else the simulation engineer or building a complete team. And they can also build the robotic arm. They can also build the legged robots, a humanoid robot. But the complexity increases step by step. But ROS is supported for the multiple types of robots. And the community is growing. And with the revolution of AI, I think ROS is
It's
can
going
be
to be
like,
enough now.
yeah, it will be advantage on the robotics side, I think. So if the companies adapt it, there will be good days for us.
Okay. So companies are there walking around, and if I'm a student, and there are multiple
Hmm.
students in there doing mechatronics or what we say robotics, or they might be from CSE or EC or triple
Yeah.
E, but their interest aligns. Then one question that is coming in my mind is like, which type of project do they start like from basics to advanced? Can you just name 10 and 10?
For the people who are not with the robotics background, especially, so I would like to take a call here. Like, but if you don't have the background, now we are living in the age of information. So you have all the information available online. You just have to figure out where you are interested into. Let's say you are interested into robotics and you are into the computer side. So you don't know about the robotics, but is really robotics only about building the hardware? No, we also need the software part, right? If the CS person is doing the web development part, do robotics needs web development? Yes, it needs, right? We are building networks. We are using the web interface for controlling the robot. We are designing the UI to control the robot. So all the engineers are needed in robotics. Okay, you should be right at the skill and at the right place. Okay, and you should be also able to market yourself. That is also one skill. So that was one call. So if your interest aligns with anything that could be non-technical, just go with it. Never underestimate yourself like you are from the different department, from the different branch, how to get it. I know I also like currently also I'm working at a company, but I also have gone through the same phase of the student, what it feels like. I was also underestimating myself, like I'm not good at robotics. I'm not joined the college clubs. So how will I get into the companies? Actually getting a job, I decided to get a job in my fourth year. So that's the completely different thing. But never underestimate yourself. If you are consistent and you are doing the right thing by getting the data, make sure that you collect the data and uh, take an example of a person who is doing that particular thing. So, for example, if you are doing robotics or else, let's say web development, so follow the 10 persons who are into that field. So you will automatically get into that zone, get into that vibe, and you will not make the mistakes that they have did. So you will save a lot of time. So you are getting their 4 years of experience in just 1 month. So you don't need to do those things again, which they have did. So that's how what I think to save the time. Okay. So there is one saying, I don't know if it is real saying or my saying itself, but you save your time by learning from others' mistake. Don't do the same mistake by yourself.
That's
So that's what I think. Right. So you can do that stuff like do the hard work and the smart work, both of them. So actually, I got diverse from the topic. But coming back to the projects part, you can do the robotics project first, as we discussed about the getting into the fundamentals. So as I said, if someone who is into the software part, let's like collectively decide all the fields, all the branches can do these projects. Okay, but the students who are listening, you can relate it to your own interest. Okay, I'm just giving the examples of the project, but imagine yourself to build the hardware, or imagine yourself to build the software. Okay, so the robot is the combination of all those things. So suppose you are building a project, let's say start with the mobile robot. Why mobile robot? Because it is really easy to build and the fundamentals will be cleared easily by building a mobile robot. So let's build a project of mobile robot using Arduino. Okay, again, why Arduino? Why not ESP? You can go for the ESP, but first go with the Arduino because it has various the community is very vast for
strong.
Arduino, and you will get the resources very easily, and it is really cheap to get it. Also, ESP is cheaper than Arduino, but uh, in the beginning, Arduino is very easy to understand. So please go with the Arduino first. Okay, so go with the Arduino. Okay, so you know the Arduino fundamentals, how the microcontroller works, how to use the motor driver with the Arduino, how to use the motors with the Arduino. You have built the mobile robot. Okay, then just break that Arduino project into uh, first of all by controlling the mobile robot with the Bluetooth module, and then controlling the mobile robot with the web server. So now you can use the ESP32 or else any ESP, okay, which has the Wi-Fi modulity built-in Wi-Fi module on the ESP. So you can use the ESP microcontroller. Now you can control the mobile robot using web server. Just try to build a like web page or else anything. So you can use the existing projects as well. That is fine. Never ever say that thing. I will not copy someone else project. We learn by copying. What I feel. Don't copy in the exam. Okay, just take my saying as a learning. You can copy someone's work to learn, but don't copy at a very mass level. Okay, that is also one thing. So you can copy someone's project, learn from it, and do your own thing as well. If he has built a 3 button web page, you can go for 6. Okay, if you only build 3 buttons, like just copying that project and just showcasing on GitHub, that will be good to showcase on the profile. That is a really smart move, but I think that will not help in the long term game. So you can do that project, mobile robot project, and then getting the mobile robot project, I will suggest do a project with the first, if you have done with the project on your own, then go for the team project, or else if you have done the team project, do an individual project. Okay, both are important. Why both are important? If you are building the project with the team, as I said previously, technical is also important and non-technical is also important. So if you are building a project with the team, you get the brainstorming at a different level. You have a different project, sorry, you have a different perspective on the project. The other person has a different perspective. The next person has some kind of other perspective. Okay, he is not interested into robotics, but you have to deal with these people, right? Maybe they are your friends or not. You have to do the project. Okay, just call 2 or 3 people. In every college, there are some students who are interested to do the project. So you will definitely get some students. Just you have to approach them. Okay, so do the team project. Okay, you will, if you are leading the team, you will get the leadership qualities. If you are not leading the team, you will get the team, what can I say, to work, teamwork qualities. So those are also important. So build the project in a team. The project can be same mobile robot by making it autonomous, or let's diversify it. We will build a robotic arm this time. Okay. So you will build a robotic arm with the team. If not the team, you can build it individually. But I will suggest build it with a team because it will save a lot of time because we don't have 10 years of engineering. So that's why. Okay, so build it with the team. If you're building it with a team, then that's fine. You will get a team management wala part, and then you will build the robotic arm. So now you have 2 types of robots. One is mobile robot, then the robotic arm. Now the third project will be to make the same mobile robot autonomous. Okay, so now here you can deal with the sensors like LiDAR sensor or else the vision sensors as well, like a simple camera for the vision part. I'm not saying the depth camera. Okay, only a camera to monitor. Okay, so now integrate that with it. Use the LiDAR sensor for the navigation part. Now here comes the role of ROS. So here will be add-on. So for if you are using the ROS for your third project itself, then you can design the mobile robot first, get the design by yourself, I will say, if you are working on the ROS project, so that you will understand the links part and how the design is made. You should not be expert at the design because you cannot be expert at 2 things at the same time. But you can note that thing. Okay, if you have done the hands-on, like no one will say that thing that you are not worked it with the hands-on part. Like you also have the experience of design. So work on the design part, get that design into the simulation. So if I break the autonomous mobile robot, the first part will be the simulation part to navigate it in the simulation. That will be really easy. And then getting it to the hardware part with ROS. So for that part, you can assemble the hardware, you can join the motors. Again, you can do this project individually or else with the teamwork. Okay, robotic arm should be a teamwork or else on your own. It depends upon your time as well. If you have less time, you are doing these things in your fourth year, go with the team project, I will suggest. So you can build the autonomous mobile robot. This is your third project. Okay, so now we have 3 projects. To go with the fourth project, I will suggest now combine the autonomous mobile robot with the robotic arm. So it will become the mobile manipulator. Okay, so we have built the 2 systems individually. Now we are merging these 2 systems to sync them. So now we are building the autonomous mobile robot, sorry, mobile manipulator, which will be autonomous. So it will navigate to some extent and pick up those things, but by using ROS. Why I'm saying that? Because by building the projects, you have gathered some fundamentals of robotics, and now you're like upgrading your projects to the ROS part by also syncing on those projects. So this is also a kind of good stuff to do, because after building this project successfully, you will be confident at your own project, and the confidence reflects in your profile. Uh, I with the like interview part, when you are saying about that project, be really confident. So in the fourth project, you will do the mobile manipulator part, that is mounting the robotic arm on your mobile robot that will be autonomous, and you can also add the vision system there if you are dealing with the software part, or else someone who is dealing with the hardware part, they can see the like we are mounting the robotic arm on the mobile robot, so the weight is also going to increase. So if we want to change the torque of the motor, or else like some type of things are to be done in the hardware part, and the electronics part, if you want to change the microcontroller, you can change it. So likewise, you can go with the project part up to the fourth project. And the fifth project, I will suggest that the category of the robot. Now we have dealt with the mobile robot, the robotic arm. The next could be an aerial robot, or else legged robot. Okay, you can also go with the water robots as well if you have the budget. But aerial robot like drones, or else the legged robots. So you can choose any one of them. And so what was I saying is that like for the fifth project, I will suggest to do it at a different level as a research project or a team project as well. So build the project with the team because it has a high complexity, like a legged robot or else aerial robot. So first build a team, go with a proper kind of roadmap for it. So first build a team, brainstorm on the project, get the ideas, what application we have to choose. Like aerial robot can be for the photography, for the patrolling part, or else for the disaster management. So you choose the application, uh, get that application to your college professor, and then just approve that project. And after that, study the current research papers. What research is done in that particular domain for aerial robotics? What is the research? What exceptionally I can do? If not, then learn that how to do it exceptionally. If that is not possible, do the same project. I will suggest don't waste a lot of time because do the master part and get it done there. But getting the project hands-on is really important. So study about it. If it is exceptional, you can get the design patent first,
Mhm.
and you can get the utility patent afterwards, and then you can get the research paper out by getting those data, or else those readings or the validation part. You can get your research paper out as well, or as the review paper, I can say. Okay, so because you have worked upon the project very much at a depth level, like you can take a time frame of 1 year, because you can also take this project for your final year project, because the major projects are mostly in the final year. So you can do that project in your final year, and it will definitely add in your risk, because every company asks like what is your final project. So
Mhm.
that will be a really good thing.
Sure, sure. So that was a very profound, I will say, discussion on robotics. So, Arun, wrapping up
Okay.
now, I guess we're reaching out of like time limitations. What is
Yeah.
the one suggestion, one key aspect what you say a student should follow if he or she is on the path of robotics and must care during this whole process of learning? What's that one key aspect or your suggestion on this?
Okay. One key suggestion for robotics,
Mhm.
for students in robotics.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I will say is that be aware,
Mhm.
only one term. For the reason for it is that be aware in terms of technical knowledge and the non-technical part. I always say this particular thing is because that like technical is not everything. So you also have to be good in non-technical part,
Mhm.
because companies like if you have to do a job at a company, then you have to be good with the non-technical part. But at the same time, if some student who is interested into the research part, very much dedicated to robotics, he knows the in-depth of robotics. There are some students I know. So those are, if that is the case, I will suggest you are good with the technical. You can change the world, I think so, by doing some inventions.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't like whether I will be able to do that or not,
Mhm.
but I will try it on my own way because I don't know. But if that is the thing, go with the, if you are able to work in the research lab, that is really going to change your career. So
Mhm.
if you are good with the technical, just explore it and do it consistently. Be aware part also consists the consistency part. If you see, there is one saying like, nothing happens with talent. It's all of the consistency. Okay, so how talented are you? That will not determine your role in any field, let's say robotics. But the work that you are doing consistently will definitely build your confidence, build your profile, build your technical skills and non-technical skills as well. So consistency, being technical and being non-technical, that is important. Being non-technical means to be able to work in the team environment, to build your own resume by yourself without using ChatGPT, understanding how the recruiter will read the resume
Mhm.
from the, if he reads from the starting, how it will affect me. If he reads from the bottom, how will it affect me? If
Mhm.
he keeps his eyesight on the middle of the resume, how will it affect me? Is my resume really well formatted or not? It is one aspect of the non-technical part, but yeah, that's how it goes. But also here is one point to be added, like for the combining the technical and non-technical part, don't go with the mass. Like,
Mhm.
don't go with many people. Like, for example, I have done the robotic software engineer wala role. Like, currently, I'm doing robotic software engineering role at a startup.
Mhm.
So, but my fundamentals are into the automation and robotics engineering. But don't follow the mass means don't blindly follow me, like I am saying it, because I'm talking about software part, or else I try to cover all the parts. But just don't blindly follow me that I have done software. Okay, Aryan has done the software part, or else the other guest will come. He will say I have done the software part. So software is booming. Yeah, software is booming. There is a AI revolution. I'm not saying that, but if you are not really good at that work, or else you are not enjoying that work, then don't just follow that. Try to figure out what is good for you. That will really help you. In robotics, people also need the hardware guys, the electronics guys, or also the non-technical guys who are good with the sales part, who are good with the marketing part, who are good with the management part. So, because a robotics company will not work only on the technical people, if I am right or else wrong, please correct me. But uh, the robotics company will not work only with the technical people. But if you have the technical experience and non-technical touch with it, you can be also hired for the non-technical role as well. Or else, as a robotics educator as well, you can work. If you have good knowledge, good communication skills, you can become a robotics educator. So
So
just
soft skills
that
matters.
was my bottom line. Soft skills also matter, and don't blindly follow anyone. Just figure out what is good for you. You are good to go, and be aware.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your valuable time. So, everyone, this
Thank
was
you.
the end of our session today. IEEE Robotics and Automation Society with our distinguished guest, Aryan Jagatsi. Thank you very much for your time. And we'll for sure join
Thank you.
him
Thank you so
in
much.
future sessions. And it will be fun, very, to work with you simultaneously. And it was a great session, by the way. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Signing off,
Thank you so
Vivek Pandit,
much.
IEEE Robotics and Automation Society. Thank you.